And naturally, I'm a Tottenham man, obviously. I can reflect back to being a player with and manager of some of the finest players that have ever been in the game.
The place is fantastic, the tradition of this club.
To be the manager of 3 cup-winning teams here, I'm so lucky, it's untrue.
Hotspur America podcast, airing every week during the English Premier League season.
What a glory night at White Hart Lane.
This great and historic football club.
Joyful night down the Tottenham High Road.
Hotspur America, the original US-based podcast dedicated solely to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Gascoigne going to have a crack? He is, you know. Oh, I say! Schoolboy's own stuff.
I hate Arsenal, just hate them.
Oh, what a goal! Unbelievable!
Wow, this is incredible.
We're the Yids in America.
This is there to tap in.
What a fantastic run. He scored.
Alex Turnholm, Eric Dyer.
This is your Hotspur America. What a time to be alive, to quote my friend there, Sammy Zurwell. Episode 36 of the Hotspur America podcast. I am Ken, and I am back from London. And what a trip this was. Boys, how are you? Sam?
I am well. I'm just trying to piece it all together. So I guess that's what we'll be doing here for the next 3 hours or so.
Yeah, it's going to be a cluster. It really is, trying to piece it together.
Right?
If we try to do this chronologically, it's never going to work. But we're just going to try to give our listeners as much insight as to everything that we were able to do. And
I really don't think we need to do a show. They all saw us there. All 5 of our listeners were there.
It was certainly well chronicled on social media, that's for sure.
And as you can hear, chiming in, Simon's here too. Doing well, I guess, yeah?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm drinking tea and you're not, so you're doing better than me.
No.
What do you got today?
I'm still on holiday, mate. I'm drinking beer.
Where to start? Kenny saw Spurs win.
Let's start with Stoke because you guys weren't there. And I'll start there. Stoke, we lost 3-0. And there was a fight underneath the stands between Spurs fans. And I got really drunk. The end. So, next.
Hang on. Okay, well, let's talk about the much talked about scuffle between supporters. So where I mean, did that sort of unfold before your eyes, or did you just walk downstairs and there it was? So give us the scoop there.
Okay, we went 2-0 down about 32, 33 minutes in. I can't remember exactly. And our buddy Ollie and his friend Chris were like, "Hey, we're going downstairs to get beer." All right, the early halftime, and one of them needed a fag, so we were going to go out front, which at Stoke is kind of cool because they actually let you outside the ground. And it's a good thing because that concourse area underneath the away stand is so small that they have to let people out. So they move like the gates back, and people can actually go migrate outside. So it was pretty nice to go outside and have a fistful of beer like I had in a couple of pictures that I saw that I didn't realize I had. So we're out there having fun, and all of a sudden you hear a lot of commotion going on and singing and whatnot and underneath the stand. And I told Ollie, I said, "Hey man, I want to get in on that." So we walk in there. One of the things I didn't realize too about away matches is that the away fans have their own stewards that come up from basically their ground or their club supply stewards. So they have Tottenham stewards, period. They're in a line, 2 deep, separating what I will construe as younger fans who are singing how shit we were, and some old guard fans on the other side who are taking offense to it. And there were some coins being thrown, cups of beer being thrown back and forth, wow. A lot of obscenities being shouted, and then the group that was singing how bad we were started singing "Are You Arsenal in Disguise?" Well, that was the wrong thing to probably sing. And it really, for lack of a better term, set it all off. And it got really kind of bad. And I reached down, grabbed my phone, started recording, and I caught the tail end of it. I didn't get all of it, but a lot of people caught basically all of it, and it ended up on social media. And I was trying to remember how I felt. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel disgusted or anything like that. I was having such a really good time with all the people that I had bumped into that it was kind of an aberration that had happened. But once I started talking to someone like Katrina Law and a few of the other people that go all the time, and they are a very big part of what Tottenham Hotspur is from a supporter standpoint, I was told this never happens. And then it kind of made me realize how catastrophic of an event this was from a supporter standpoint. And I was so glad that we, played well this past Saturday to kind of alleviate some of that. But seeing it firsthand and trying to understand the mentality, it's almost like they didn't have anybody else to be pissed at but themselves, so they decided to go ahead and have an infight with themselves. But that's all I can surmise from it. I mean, what did you guys see on social media and the kind of impression you got? Because I know that I sent you two my video that I had just taken, but I didn't put it up because I didn't want it out there, and me be the catalyst for starting shit on social media. So
well, I want to ask Simon what he feels about this. Being supporting the club longer than us and having a greater sense of perspective, and maybe he's seen something like that before. Chairman, what were
well, I haven't encountered that personally. Infighting, I've seen it on social media platforms. People just get in the arse because someone has an opinion that just rubs someone up the wrong way. So to see something like this is disappointing. Granted, we were watching the game in the States while Ken was enjoying it firsthand, and there was enough reason with what was going on the pitch for people to get upset, but to that degree where people going back and forth, acting that way. And you know what? We saw a little of that at the Bricklayers on Saturday before the game. There was similar chanting from that lot in the corner, but
and a younger group of supporters too.
Yeah, but there was that older guy there that seemed to be getting into the swing of things quite a lot. But that was really the only negative song that was sung, and I don't think it got sung more than that once because I don't think the rest of the people there enjoyed it. There was the typical library and jabs at other people there. Are you Paxton in disguise?
I heard that,
Yeah, which it is kind of stupid because at the end of the day we're all supporters of the same club, and we have a right to our opinion, and some people unfortunately let that opinion be known in probably not the best ways of doing that. It's just like the supporters who boo at halftime and at full time. And I'm not in that camp, unfortunately. I get frustrated, but I don't think that I would like to vent my frustrations that way. But each to their own. Everyone is entitled to an opinion. I just think sometimes some people go a bit too far, and in this case, that's a prime example of that.
Yeah, but I mean, the match itself turned out to be completely inconsequential to me. Going over it and it being my first official, non-friendly match that I've seen Tottenham play. I can't stress enough to everybody I met, and if you're listening, you know who you are. If I tried to name everybody just for the Stoke match, it would be impossible, let alone for the people that we met between Friday and Saturday for Hull. Excuse me, and I'm fighting a bit of a cold, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. The people were amazing. Even the train ride back, our car was filled with a lot of Tottenham fans, obviously, that I didn't know, and some that I did. But there was also a big, giant group of, college-age girls, I guess, that had come up from MK Dons, that half of them were Spurs fans, and the other half were Arsenal fans. So they were giving each other shit, and then the Arsenal fans were giving everybody else on the train shit, because we played shit, and we were giving it back to them, and it was a lot of really good fun banter, a lot of alcohol being drunk, and we had a great time coming back. And then that night went out again, went to the Dolphin and with Ollie and his friends, and did a little bit of a pub crawl through London, and it was just a really good time. I mean, I really enjoyed the experience of Stoke, not so much the match, but it's the people. It really was about the people. And then I toured Wembley the next day. I went out and did the Wembley tour. That place is pretty cool. Excuse me. The stadiums here, you do the stadium tours, and they can be pretty basic. They'll show you some pretty cool stuff, and you'll get to go in the dugouts or the sidelines or whatever, depending on what kind of stadium you're in. But Wembley has things that you can see even before the tour starts, and they had all these plaques, and I took pictures of them all. And it didn't have up to 2015 with Harry, but it had every single player's debut year that debuted for, the year they debuted for England. So I was going through all of the plaques and taking pictures of all of the players that played for Tottenham. They have they have that huge Bobby Moore statue out front. Got a lot of really nice shots of that. Inside, excuse me, gosh, inside was great. They had FA Cup replica there. Got to take a picture with that. Go down onto the pitch. Not really get on the grass, but you can go right to the touchline basically, and it was remarkably beautiful. The stadium, very well kept up. All the workers that were there were very friendly. The tour guide we had was an absolute hoot, and I think everybody had a really good time. That was on that tour. Have either of you guys done that? Excuse me.
I haven't been to the new Wembley, and I only went to the old Wembley once. I went for an England-Luxembourg game, which might have been one of the highest scoring games ever at Wembley. They won 9-0. But other than that, I've never been there.
I remember that game.
Yeah, Hoddle scored that game.
He did, yeah.
He did. Scored a nice goal, too. It was really nice. I think it was left-footed half volley.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you mentioned Ollie, and I'm only bringing him up because you started with him first, but I'll speak further to him, and you definitely, I know well and should, because you spent so much time with him. What an amazing guy. But we're going to say that about a ton of people that we mention on this show. I mean, both separately for the three of us and collectively, it was a phenomenal weekend. I mean, one of the absolute best 3 or 4 days I've spent in London, 2 particularly for Spurs ever, without question. And it's because of the people that make up Spurs. And so if anything, if we're going to do anything, we're going to make an ode to anybody. It's the amazing people that we met. And you mentioned Ollie. He's amazing. You guys must have had so much fun. What a gem of a guy.
We did. And he lives way out in Kent. So for him to come down and spend some time with me individually before you guys were able to get there later on in the week was a sacrifice on his part and a treat on my part. And just to be able to go out with just proper London people, and get out and do some stuff that's all back roads. No, we're not going to go there. We're going to go here, type of scenarios. And we go to all these little tiny football pubs, and even the patrons inside are very welcoming and accommodating. And then they learn that you're a Spurs supporter, and they want to know why. I don't know how many times I had to tell the story of how I became Spurs. And I didn't mind telling anybody that asked. It was I left there. I can truly say this, and I know he's going to listen. I've got a very good new friend that I made this week in Ollie, and it's going to be great to go back. It's going to be great if he can ever come over here, because I know that those people are going to be just lying in wait, waiting to take us out again. So Ollie, here's a shout to you. Cheers. I loved every minute of it, man, and I was glad you were able to do it more than once with me. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I got a chance to spend some time with him at the Brickies on Saturday. Just seemed like an amazing guy. So I mean, we're gonna have a hard time keeping the show. I mean, I laughed, said 3 hours at the beginning, but no. I mean, it's just I just can't think of anybody. I wouldn't want to wax poetically about just amazing people. Yeah.
So 10 days, yeah? Wow.
Yeah, 10 days.
You could have easily spent another 10 more, right?
I really didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
I really did not want to leave. I had people saying, "Are you sure you can't stay and come up to Everton with us next week?" And I was just, oh my God! If I didn't let it end, it wasn't gonna end. And that's what's enamored me so much about everything is you're gonna hear me say it a million times on this podcast. The people were amazing, and I'm not just talking the guy who listens to the podcast and the guy who I got newly introduced to that didn't even know what Dallas Spurs was, but was enamored of the fact that an American flew 5,000 miles to go watch the shower of shit up in Stoke. I also got to meet Katrina Law, who we've had on the podcast from the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust up at Stoke, and she is an absolute ball of laughs. We had so much fun. She brought a whole entourage of people with her, and every one of them was just as friendly as Ollie and everybody else that I met. Such a good time. And I think as I'm looking down at my notes, one of the really cool things that I got to do that happened before you guys actually got there was just to switch